bad.
Goodness. Anyways. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to episode 5 of the Creative Thought Podcast. I'm James. This is Emery. If you've been with us since episode 1, thank you for joining us on this journey. If you are just now coming in, then thank you for dropping in at this point. If you want to go look at our past few episodes, go ahead and check those out. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon so that you know whenever we drop a new episode or any other videos in the between time. But yeah, let's definitely get into the content of this one. So Emery, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about gratitude. I want to talk about this topic today because sometimes we lose sight of what's important, what we have, and how far we've come. And when we do that, we can feel either a sense of entitlement or a sense of depression. And when we can get in that right frame of mind and appreciate what we have, it helps us be happier and enjoy life in at a higher level. So I want to start out with what is gratitude to you, James?
Gratitude to me is, I see it as remaining just aware and thankful for the things that you do have and not focusing on those things that you may want or need that you don't have. But, you know, there's always something that is a positive in your life, and really just keeping that at the forefront of your mind is important. And I see that as an important aspect of gratitude.
So what does gratitude look like? And I want to start by contrasting it with other stuff. Gratitude in its purest form is,
Okay.
hey, I had to do it. I had to crack my knuckles, man. Because I'm getting into it. Is thankfulness. And when you're not operating in that, you can get bitter. And when you're bitter, you lose sight of what's important and some of the small things, some of those small steps that brought you to where you used to be to where you are now. And you can't appreciate where you are now if you're stuck in a bitter place, if you're stuck in a dark place, if you're stuck in I should be receiving more. And with gratitude, you know that nothing is owed to you. No one owes you anything, and that everything you have, you're blessed to have. So that makes you more open to receive new things, new ideas. You're able to view different openings, and when you're not operating in gratitude and thanksgiving, you don't see those because all you see is what you don't have. You see a lack, and you don't see opportunity. You don't see possibilities. And when you're operating in that mindset, you can get a little angry. You feel entitled to things. You have expectations on other people that don't owe you nothing. Like, nobody owes you anything. So me having that mindset, I am grateful for what I do get from people, what I do receive from people. Any kind words, anybody that's like, hey, you want to hang out or something like that, I'm grateful for that. Because I know they ain't got to do it.
Very true.
They didn't have to. So even in that moment, like, some people aren't grateful until something has passed. Like, when you're grateful in that moment, it enhances that moment for you. You allow yourself to see the beauty in that moment. We don't ever take time to stop and appreciate what we do have because we're upset and angry at what we don't. And it limits us. It gets us upset off of things we can't control. When we can appreciate what we have off of the things that we can't control.
So when I think of that, my mind goes to even dealing with dealing with failure or disappointment. If you don't have an attitude of gratitude when you're dealing with those situations, it's so easy to become frustrated, angry, and just upset. It's either with yourself or with others when you're dealing with those situations where you don't reach a goal that you had set. But when you approach something with an attitude of gratitude, you're like, you know what, I didn't hit this goal, but I was able to do this, that, and the other. So you're not skipping any steps. And even if it doesn't completely get rid of that feeling of disappointment or kind of hurt that you feel when you don't hit the goals that you were intending to hit, it still kind of, I guess, it curtails the appropriate word. It kind of lessens that feeling that you feel. So approaching everything with an attitude of gratitude, and I think people may think gratitude is an emotional thing. I think it's more of a just more of a logical thing.
A state of mind?
Yeah, a state of mind to view the world, not really based on emotions, because your emotions swing everywhere. But if you're approaching everything with an attitude of gratitude, you are making an active choice to say, hey, you know what, this, that, and the other, and it's your thoughts that will guide your emotions. Because if you look at something like, hey, you know, I didn't hit this goal, but I was able to hit this, that, and the other, then your emotions, even if they are strong, they will follow and they will kind of move in a more positive direction and allow you to continue moving forward with what you had set for yourself.
Yeah. On that, I want to go back to both. So I'm going to start with that one first. What did you just say? Because I keep on thinking of the other one. I don't want to forget the failure part.
Oh, disappointment.
No. Emotions.
Oh, okay, emotions. Got you.
The emotions. It is a mindset. It's not an emotion. And what gratitude can help you do is gratitude can help you be happier. So it's not the emotion. It can enhance your emotions. It brings your perspective. It brings you to a better perspective on the situation, and then it'll better your mood once you get that proper perspective. Like, it's always hard to see it in the moment. Not everything you're going to see in the moment. Some things you won't see till later down the line. So you'll be angry about it, sad, whatever. And once you get that proper perspective, it changes your attitude and it changes your mood towards it. When it comes to failure, there was it's a TV trope, and it's called the Xanatos Gambit.
Okay, explain.
Xanatos is a character from the animated series Gargoyles.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever saw that show.
Yeah.
I love that show.
It's been a minute.
It's actually on Disney Plus. I haven't rewatched it again. I'm gonna watch it all the way up until the Goliath Chronicles, and I'm gonna stop right before.
I remember you telling me.
Hey, once the cartoon changes their name and they try to keep the same, I just like, nah, man, I'm
trash.
Out. I'm out.
Straight trash.
And what Xanatos did is he never saw his losses as losses. He took those L's as lessons. Like, he was happy every time he went up against them and they won, because he was like, all right, now I know I can tweak this. Now I know I can do better at this part. Now I know I can't come at that angle. I have to do it this way. And this way will yield me better results. Of course, he had all the money in the world to
to experiment.
Yeah, to experiment, yeah.
Reinvest, yeah.
And we can do that at whatever level that we're at. We can turn our losses into lessons. And any loss that you have can help you grow in whatever area that you're attempting to be in. There was one thing that I did not like, and that was when I won too early. If I won too early, for me, I didn't learn anything.
It's like this was too easy.
Yeah, and that gets me frustrated, because if there's things where you learn through hardship, even if you win at the first time, and it's like that's fun, because like I'm learning, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm getting back on, I'm learning, blah, 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 and I get the win, it's earned. If I win in the first couple seconds, I'm like,
Man, see, those situations, I don't trust it. It's
yeah,
like,
because like,
yeah.
okay, so when I get to like, let's say I'm playing a video game. Let's say I get to level 2. It's like, well, I didn't learn anything the first time. Things got harder, and I didn't learn any lessons. So I might lose this a couple times because the lesson that was in the first part I didn't get to learn because it was too easy. So there could have been steps that I was supposed to learn, and I just win. I don't want to win like that. If I win, I still want there to be a lesson.
Right.
And you always get a lesson in a loss. So I don't
Very
mind losing 3 or 4 times because that means I'm getting things worked out of me. I'm getting my mindset changed to fit this particular situation. And right now I'm looking at it at an improper perspective. And once I get that perspective switched up through these losses that are allowing me to see things in a different perspective, once I win, it's all the more better. So your losses are lessons. Be like Xanatos. Go back in time and give yourself a coin.
Matter of fact,
Future.
Matter of fact, go on Disney Plus and watch Gargoyles.
It's a really great animated series.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of people from Star Trek that learned that that did voices. And the main character is a black woman who's also Native American. She's Native American black.
See, they were doing it.
They were doing it before everybody else.
Before 2020.
Yeah. And once I got like older, I appreciated that even more because I was like, you was representing for black people and Native American people with the lead female character.
Hey, shoot.
The lead male character.
You know another animated, The Proud Family?
Mm-hmm.
That was another good show.
Yeah, and that I appreciated that too. I am grateful that we had those.
That we had that representation.
That representation
of
growing up.
strong.
It wasn't a lot. Still, what we had. Once you look back on it, it shows you like you did have some representation, like having Zach as a Black Power Ranger. That was representation. I appreciated that while it was happening, because I knew even at like 5 years old, I was like, hey man, he black.
Hey, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, no, it's still on gratitude. It's still on gratitude because I appreciate those things when they happen on representation because we don't have that a lot. And when we did get it, it meant something.
And it wasn't like stereotypical.
Well, Zach was doing a whole bunch of hip hop dances. It just like says hip hop music plays.
I mean, you did. Something popped in my head. I'm like, okay, so that's truly a conversation for another time.
It is. I still appreciated it though.
The fine line between stereotype and a cultural aspect.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think there was this post when you told me that we want to talk about gratitude. There was this post I saw on Instagram from Kato on the track. Kato producer on Instagram. He said a music career is pretty straightforward when you remember nobody owes you expletive. We're going to say anything. Nobody owes you anything. And that is really important. And that ties directly into gratitude, I feel like, because when you approach life with no one owes me anything, then that's you avoiding those feelings of upset, avoiding those feelings of being hurt or disappointed by something or somebody when you're not getting something. You're not even setting the expectation that someone should or needs to or is supposed to help you out of something, because that comes with a feeling of entitlement, which I feel like entitlement is opposite to gratitude.
It is.
So getting rid of that feeling of entitlement and remembering, hey, I have all of these things. I'm grateful of all of these things. I'm grateful for the ability to go out and do what I need to do for myself, accepting help along the way, because no one can finish this journey on their own. But at the same time, you're not sitting there expecting somebody to do something for you. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a really good point that he made on that post. I'll reference his Instagram down below. But yeah, I just thought that was just a solid piece there.
One of the ways we can help with our gratitude is when we get the right perspective. is passing along that gratitude, and that means acknowledging the people that did help you, because nobody owed you anything. So when people come along and they do help you, thank you goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Like, thank you goes a really long way, and it's showing appreciation for the person that did something for you, whatever it is, small or large. It helps. And I was listening because I did give you this topic like in the middle of the week. I did get to listen to some people talking about gratitude and read some articles, because you were like, well, what's it have to do with creativity? And I was like,
Hey man, we're the Creative Thought Podcast. We got to tie it in.
it can be creative and it can be about stuff about some thoughts. Okay.
Hey. But what'd you find out though?
One of the men I was listening to, he's talked about the 4 A's of gratitude. And it was appreciation, approval, admiration, and attention. And he said all of those go towards appreciating someone else that did something for you. And when you appreciate someone, it goes to their self-esteem. It helps them. It shows you that you see them. All 4 of those help that you see them. You appreciate them on what they did mattered to you. And by that, they matter. They matter to you, and it allows people to feel that they are important, to know that they are important, because other people are appreciating the things that they're doing for them. And it also puts into perspective for you that this person didn't need to help me, they did, and I'm grateful. And it also, that gratefulness extends out to you verbally or by action. Maybe you get them something, or even write them a letter, and that goes into the affirmation, words of affirmation, which is a love language actually. And people say that's your love language. I don't think it's my primary one. It is, however, ways that I show gratitude towards people, because I know they don't have to be in my life. I know they don't have to help me out. I do a lot of things on my own. So when people come along and share things with me, I cannot help showing gratitude through words of affirmation, listening, because that's one of them when it came to attention. And when you listen, you're supposed to listen without judgment, without cutting people off. Hold your thoughts to the end by just listening. And that's an important aspect of listening, and it shows that you care and appreciate them. And that is an act of gratitude. So we want to get into those acts of showing gratitude, not just feeling it, also showing it when it comes to the people in your life. That's one of the ways that I like to show gratitude is by sharing it through words, maybe in a text messages. Unfortunately, my text messages, when it comes to me sharing gratitude, they might get a little long.
This dude will write entire paragraphs, entire essays in a text message.
Hey, outside of this, I don't get to talk that much. Like this long form thing right now, I'm getting to share some thoughts, and I'm taking my time to do so on this particular topic because it's important. Normally, I just listen, and I love to listen because I really want to hear what people have to say. I really appreciate them wanting to share with me, so I'm there to listen. So I talk, I'm put in a text message. It's going to be a paragraph about how much I appreciate you.
Now, one thing that I could think about where I think someone can take it too far, where anything in excess can become a negative. Not that gratitude would ever be a negative, but they can extend it too far where it's no longer gratitude, but it's something else, where it's complacency.
Explain.
So what I imagine is someone can be sitting there, you know what, I don't have this, that, and the other, but at least I have this, this, and this. And then they just leave that.
Oh, not try to achieve more.
Yeah, so they're not trying to achieve more. They're not trying to go for more. They're just trying to sit with what they have and keep it there. I think that is moving beyond a place of gratitude, because while you are grateful for what you have, but you're also lacking initiative, the motive to achieve more, because I think that's something that we should all be doing in whatever our walk of life is achieve more, go as far as we can, build a legacy for ourselves. So that's where I think it's something that can be morphed into a negative. What do you think about that?
I like that, because that goes into your question that you asked me when you said, what does this have to do with creativity? All right. So I started researching. And because you asked, well, aren't people that are sadder more creative? And I said, no.
Well, help them clarify what I said.
So now, well, no, you say what you said, because I'm about to go in.
So,
I ain't about to stop.
So I was like, I think we mentioned it a couple of episodes back where I said, you know, their art, you know, pain can produce excellent art.
So can joy.
Yeah, I mean, so can that, but that's not to dismiss that people who have been through a lot of pain, who have been through a lot of heartache, they can use that and really push speaking to other people with the pain that they've been through, or even going through, past tense, current tense, you know? So I feel like there's a place in the creative world for that. Not to say that, you know, it's better than people who are approaching it from like a positive aspect. You know, I'm happy, I'm feeling good. There's a place for all of that.
Okay.
Because there are people who going through all walks of life who sometimes need to know that someone's there in the thick of it with them, or who's been there before and made it out. Or maybe they're looking for someone who's not in it right now. You know, when you go to listen to music, sometimes you want to listen to music to relate to how you're feeling, and sometimes you want to listen to music to take you to a place opposite of what you're feeling. You know what I mean?
Rarely people do that. People are like, I'm sad, I want to listen to sad music.
Hey, but I know plenty of people who've been like, you know, I'm really upset. I need to listen to something to just pull my mind out of this. So I think there is that as well.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Look at this dude. He over here hyping himself up. Okay,
I'm not
go
hyping
ahead.
myself up.
What are you doing? Energizing? You about to go Super Saiyan? about to grow some hair all of a sudden? You just cut
That's
your
my
hair?
secret, James. I'm always Super Saiyan.
Over here like Hulk.
All right. So, based off of everything you said, first thing I got to say is it is scientifically proven that people that are happier are more creative. Don't at me, Google it. All right?
At him afterwards.
No.
His IG is Emerlamb.
It is scientifically
There's his
proven.
IG handle.
Right? Don't look at it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven that people that are happier are more creative. And when it comes to people that are depressed or in a negative mindset that are being creative, that is a type of self-therapy. It's therapeutic for them to do that. It's healing for them to do that. So it's not they can create beautiful art. All I'm saying is it's not the only way to create art, and it's more likely that you're going to create art in a happier state, because when you're in that happier state, you see when you're grateful, because this is what I was researching. People that are grateful are happier, and people that are happier are more creative. Therefore, grateful people are more creative than people who are feeling slighted because their sense of entitlement wasn't satisfied. and that doesn't that notice how that doesn't go into people that are depressed. Those people that are feeling slighted are angry. and they're sort of closed off. So when it comes to that creativity, it allows you to see more opportunities, make more connections when you're in a happier or feeling positive emotions. When you're feeling negative emotions, they said that focuses you on certain things, and it has to be the extremes, because you can be happy and then you're in that content state, and you can be in a negative emotion, you can be in a content state. Once you get to those extremes of those states, that allows you to see those more connections versus focus. So the people that are feeling those negative emotions are focused. They're focused on that one emotion or the feeling or the act that happened to them, and why they're in this negative state that they're in, and they focus it onto that creative pursuit. It's just that one thing. Versus those positive emotions that are extremes, it allows you to make more connections and see things in different ways. When we were talking about in the podcast, how the more creative you are, the more you can see how to make these different connections. You'll see things connect in ways that people didn't, and you can bring those together to make something new. So when you're happier, you can make those connections. Now, what one guy was saying in a TED Talk, and he was talking about this very same thing, is he said you need gratitude plus hunger.
Okay. I like that.
So the people with those negative emotions are more likely to, or with those extremes, are more likely to finish the product. You can be at that, I'm a little happy, I'm this and that, blah blah blah, and not achieve anything. You can make those connections, and think of something creative. You just won't follow through. You got to be at one of those extremes, and you need that hunger. That hunger is always going to be there at that negative.
That hunger is what fights the complacency.
Yes. And you don't want to be here. You don't want to be neutral, and you don't want to be at that positive, complacent emotion or negative complacent emotion. You want to be at that extreme where it's disgust, anger, just deep place. That's what's going to help you create. Or that happy, euphoric, I got a spark of an idea, I'm ready to do this type place. You got to be at one of those extremes, because that's where that hunger comes from. You're not going to be complacent in that neutral or in between state of emotions. You're going to be there when it comes to joy or sadness. That's going to make you drive. Now, you don't want to stay there, because that's going to keep you focused on those negative emotions. You want to be able to go up to those positive emotions, because there you will be able to make connections that you didn't see before, because you were only single-mindedly focused on this one thing. You want to be able to open yourself up to new ideas, and that comes in that positive emotion area. When you're at that extreme, you have that hunger.
So you're saying it's like a reverse pyramid. So as far as your view on life, I imagine at the top is the extreme positive emotions, where your view is expanded to a lot of things. But as you go down, okay, you go from positive extreme to positive neutral, to neutral, negative neutral, and then you have a negative extreme, where you're focused on just
that one point.
These things that are causing you pain, disappointment.
Yeah. And to sort of self-soothe and work yourself out of that, you will create. You will create out of that pain. It's just when you're in that pain, you're only focused on that. And there's some people that when they rise up, they only rise up a little, or they come neutral, or I'm a little happy, I just don't create like I want to, because they haven't reached that other extreme. So they're like, well, there was power in my depression because I was creating. Well, you were at an extreme there. What you need to do is get to that opposite extreme, because there's where that hunger is. There's where that drive is. There's where that ability to complete your task is. And that's where you will make connections that you didn't make before in that neutral state, or even have the drive to finish in that positive neutrality.
You know what that reminded me of?
I don't.
What did I find out? So that reminded me of when people say, I never like to be comfortable. There are these, just the high-performing, accomplished people. There's like, I never like to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. Because the place of comfort is a place where you're stagnant, is a place where you're not doing anything. And that's what I think that neutral area is when it comes to your emotions of being neutral, negative, neutral, or neutral, positive. because it's like you may be feeling negative, but you're still quote unquote comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not to get it to a place of discomfort where you see the need to, hey, I need to get out of here. I need to move. I need to start doing something to change my situation. So when you're in that extreme, you either go just enough to get back to the comfortable range, or you go all the way. And that's that hunger you was talking about. When you're hungry,
Yeah.
you just keep going all the way until you're at that other extreme to where you are positive, but you're still uncomfortable. You're putting yourself in situations that continue to challenge you, that continue to push you to where you are still doing things to further yourself, to expand your horizons, to do this, that, and the other, to whatever you set to accomplish for yourself. That's where I think that ties into really well when you were talking about that.
Yeah, because when it comes to being grateful, and that bringing in the emotion on the extreme end of happiness and positive emotions and joy and all those things, that's where I stayed for a long time. Even when I was like, not happy about my job and other things like that, I still had like, I'm grateful that I have this creative mind. So I can look at something, ask myself a question, and an answer will come like that. And the answer usually came in the form of a story. So I would write stories, like a bunch of stories, because I'd be like, well, why isn't there this in the world? And I'm like, I got an idea. Like I would have the full idea like that. Not just a part of it. I'd have the full story. And I'm like, I'm about to go home and write this. Like this is fun. Like I had one that I did. You probably won't be able to find the full thing. I did a comic strip, like 2011. I finally did it in 2011. I came up with it in 2009.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I'm like, I got this idea. I'm gonna sit on it for a few years. That's where I could place it, because I had another idea. I'd ask myself another question. I had another idea, so I'd write it down. It would be in the back of my brain. I'd be like, okay, I need to write more on that. Look at that. Oh snap! I got another idea.
So basically, he was like squirrel.
Yes. Yes, and in that I was in that extreme, even though like I was going at both extremes, because I didn't like where I was at, job wise. So I was in that extreme of like, I still love me.
Dang, this man was fighting for his happiness.
I was like,
hey, that's a good thing though.
Yeah, because and one of the reasons that helped me stay there, it was gratitude. And when it came to the idea, like I was at working at Target, and we're putting the back to school stuff up, and I don't know what made me think of this. It was the lack of black superheroes. Like I was looking at a lack of black superheroes when I was putting up the folders and everything, and I'm like, man, how come there ain't no more black superheroes? I already had like 8 ideas ready, drawing them. I had these stories ready ever since, years before that. And I'm looking, I was like, what if I made one that was just a comedy though? And then I just started laughing because I had the idea. I saw something else and made me think of the Thundercats. And then I was like, hold up. Thunder Mac.
If you haven't seen that series yet, it's still on Instagram, right?
I don't think I put it on Instagram. I put it on my own website, and then something happened with the being able to put it on to upload my stuff. So then I put it on another site, and then I uploaded it to that site. And then I didn't have that site no more, so I put it up somewhere else. Some of it is on my Facebook. I might put it out on Instagram at one point. It is going to be the original artwork, because I kept trying to redo it, and I was like, it's not coming out. What I did with that, though, it was Thunder Mac was where I didn't want to be in 10 years. Because he was a superhero, and he had been a superhero for 14 years, and then he ends up losing his job as a superhero because of some government stuff. They're like, you're operating illegally we're shutting you down. So he had to get a regular job. So he has these powers, and he has, you know, all these super abilities, and he has to do mundane things. And that's where I felt I was at. Because, like, man, I'm creative. I'm supposed to do this with my life, and I'm here.
Hey, there are a lot of people who feel that way, man.
I know, and I felt a lot of people be able to connect with that. And one of the things that somebody put, because I posted some of it on DeviantArt, and somebody was like, it's stereotypical. This is a white person talking. It's stereotypical that this black person is having a hard time finding a job. And I was like, can black people just be human? Like, why's it got to be a black issue that he can't find a job? Maybe people, it was like,
that's not the point.
yeah, it was still fresh. It was like, I was writing in 2011, and from 2008 till then, people were still having a hard time finding a job. So what that got to do with him being black? Like, come on, man. Can't my character just be?
Did you respond to this person?
I don't remember, man. I was like, come on.
Dude, it's like
I just wanted to express some of that frustration that other people were feeling in a comedic way. Because even though I wasn't where I wanted to be, I was still grateful that I was able to create stuff and find joy in some of the small things. And I did that through that story. So even drawing that story, I would draw it, and I would catch myself smiling as I was drawing it. And I was like, look at me.
and now you're like, hey, this is about to be fire.
And I was just like, this is funny to me. Like this little situation is funny to me. I'm having a good time doing this. So it was able to like boost my mood, because even though I was at one extreme in the negative from where I was still at the other extreme. So I was able to go from here to here, and there was frustration there, yet there was joy there. And me writing that, I was able to have some joy doing that. And I think I drew a lot of it in 2010, and then I started putting it out in 2011 and putting out one a day. And I ended up getting really busy at one point, and then not being able to finish it right when he got a job.
I think I remember that, actually.
Yeah, I was like,
because I was reading it while you were putting it up on the site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was me not only sharing frustration, it was also me sharing gratitude for where I was at. And hopefully I was like, hopefully I ain't gonna be here when I'm 29. Guess what?
Hey, man, but you know
some of that stuff I was there at 29. Not everything. I was just like, oh God.
But the important part of all that is, even if you are in a really negative situation, maintaining that attitude of gratitude, even in the midst of whatever struggle you're going through, will help you to reach that, at least internally, that extreme positive place.
Yeah.
It can if you let it.
Yeah.
It can if you let it. I mean, that's a process that you're really just going to have to, that even I have to work on myself, because I can find myself a lot like, I'm tired of this situation. I'm tired of these people. I'm tired of this, that, and the other. But you know what? It's a matter of me stopping, remembering that it's not my emotions that control my thoughts. It's my thoughts that control my emotions. But I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure others are as well, is we give our emotions the power over our thoughts instead of taking control and guiding our thoughts and having that guide our emotions instead.
My advice for you in that situation is, when you are feeling that frustrated, use that focus to create. Then it'll get hopefully it'll get your mind off the situation, and then you can look back and reflect and be like, well, that situation allowed me to make this.
Hey,
I'm grateful.
That happens, and that's how I was talking about before. When people who come from pain and heartache and struggle, they're able to take their emotions and put that into their craft, and
Yet those people, there's a way to have that conflicting emotion, and you can be grateful that even though you're going through pain right now, you have the ability to create, and that gratefulness will allow you to see new ideas while you are still driven here to do something. So you can still It'll be therapeutic for you.
Right.
You'll be driven to create, and once you realize you're in this situation and you can create, it will allow you up here to create connections that you wouldn't have seen down here.
Yeah.
So you can have those conflicting emotions. We are nuanced. We are human beings. We are complex, and we can hold two drastic emotions at the same time.
Very true.
And use that to create something beautiful.
And that's important. All this is important, but I keep on saying that's important. But I mean, it all is, because we're always going to have some type of pain. We're always going to have some type of disappointment. There are a lot of things that are constant in this life, and one of them is struggle. Mm-hmm. You are never going to be 100% comfortable, satisfied, happy, where you want to be. But if you can find that place to where, whenever you're in a negative place, you still have that connection to that. Whenever you're in a negative or extreme negative, you still have that connection, that way to get to your extreme positive for you.
And that's through gratitude.
Through gratitude. And whatever it takes to get there through gratitude, then I think you'll be set.
What are some ways that, and some obstacles that keep you from gratitude?
That keep you from gratitude?
Don't go general. Let's go personal.
Personal. That keep me from gratitude?
Yes.
Honestly, it's that's a tough one, because like we mentioned earlier, gratitude is a mindset. It's something that we have to
it's a mindset.
choose and practice.
Uh-huh.
So when we're talking about things that keep us from gratitude, that's definitely just choices that we make, and not anything that can actually control our choice to operate in gratitude or to carry that mindset of gratitude. So I could say an emotion, but then that wouldn't be valid, because gratitude is not an emotion. Now, if we are so, I could say if we're so immersed in our emotions, if we're so led by our emotions, that they kind of just guide our day to day, okay, then, well, that's kind of a barrier. That's kind of a stronghold, a wall that needs to be broken down. Not to say emotions aren't important, but if you're so guided by your emotions that you can't do anything or objectively, or you can't do anything without pushing your emotions down, then that's an issue, because you won't be able to.
Not being able to control your emotions can keep you from gratitude.
Yes, it can keep you from choosing to look at something with gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say an improper perspective on any given situation can keep you from gratitude, such as what we were talking about before, entitlement. If you have expectations on a situation or someone else, and those expectations aren't met, you will be frustrated. And those expectations that you are putting on someone else or something else can keep you from gratitude, because if it's not met, you won't appreciate what you do have. If you were take Sweet 16. You seen that show?
Is it just like rich girls?
Yeah, the rich kids getting their birthday party for, having extravagant 16th birthday
You
party.
said extravagant. Just say what expensive. Man.
And they
I'm so
had,
tired of that show.
yeah, I've seen a couple episodes. They had expectations, and they were they put those expectations on their parents to throw them the biggest party ever. So if they were expecting a car, they wanted a specific car.
Bro.
So when they didn't get that specific car, they couldn't appreciate that their parents went out of their way to not only throw them a party, also have MTV there to be at the party. Not only that, they bought them a car. They didn't have to do any of that.
Man, this one go.
Any of that. And they were upset, angry, flipped out.
Let me know.
They flipped out because they didn't get the exact car that they wanted. So now the whole party's ruined because they were ungrateful.
And now they're throwing attitude.
Attitude.
Attitude all the way.
Attitude, because they didn't get exactly what they wanted. And if you aren't happy with the small things, you're not going to be happy with the big things.
You think you are.
What? Oh, you think you are going to be happy with the big, you think you're going to be happy with the big things. You're not if you don't appreciate those small things. Like one person was saying, if you're happy for $1, you'll be happy for $10. If you're happy for $10, you'll be happy for $1 million. The person that says, I won't be happy till I get $1 million won't be happy
with anything less.
With anything less. And then some of them won't even be happy when they get $1 million. So that person that says, I won't be happy till I get $1 million, they could be given $100,000, given a chance to flip it to $1 million, won't see that opportunity for what it is because they're mad they didn't get what they thought they deserved. And guess what you deserve? Nothing. You can put in all the work and still lose.
What comes first? What comes first? Removing the feeling of entitlement or applying the mindset of gratitude?
I kind of think those go hand in hand.
It kind of happens at the same time. It's simultaneous.
Yeah.
Because I guess one can't happen without the other.
I mean, one can happen without the other. You can feel, you can lose that sense of entitlement and still not appreciate what you have. Yet if you appreciate what you have, you can lose that sense of entitlement. So if you're doing one, you can't do the other. Yet that other one can't happen without the other. The other one can happen independently. That losing that sense of entitlement can happen independently. Yet that sense of gratitude happens with losing that sense of entitlement.
Got you. So it's one doesn't affect the other, but the other affects the one.
Yes. That was the opposite of the way I put it. I was going to say, what?
I mean, I don't know. But, you know.
It still was.
Yeah. But,
correct.
I mean, so we're going to have to wrap up here soon. But I guess one question I want to pose to you, just put in the comments below, what was something that really.
In the comments, I want to read
that
these.
really pushed you to change your mindset to carry the attitude of gratitude? What was that turning point? What was that pivot? What was that? I guess that's it, turning point. I don't know. Don't let me over-explain. But yeah, just put it in the comments below. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say about it because
I want to read it too. What? People gonna leave comments?
Man, I swear this dude. But anyways, yeah, just put it in there. I want to hear the discussion. I want to see it. See what y'all have to say about it. I hope you enjoy the subject.
And if you say in the comments that this video made you change your mind and have an attitude of gratitude, I might cry.
He's not going to.
I'll be like, we helped somebody, James.
I mean, he'll be happy we helped somebody. He's not going to start crying over it.
I'm a use his shirt to wipe my tears and my snot away.
All right, so that's it for this episode. Once again, like I said, please like, subscribe, comment with your favorite thing off of this episode, and remember to keep the discussion going. What was one turning point that really helped you carry that attitude of gratitude? And keep an eye out for next Tuesday for episode 6 of the Creative Thought Podcast. We definitely appreciate y'all.
Remember,
sticking with us.
Remember, be grateful.
Yes.
Be thankful.
Yes.
Have an attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
You are owed nothing, and everything you have is a blessing. I love you, and so does James. We out.
We out.